All right, so welcome back to the Urban Film Festival and Arts Accelerator podcast. So I have two incredible queens with me that I cannot wait to introduce.
Crown.
Yes, period. Miss Lena Jenkins-Smith is the president of Goldstrand Media with projects on Netflix, Amazon, and Tubi. And she produces impactful stories that connect with audiences worldwide. And then, of course, we have Miss Maricarmen Lopez, who is the executive producer of Fox Hulu's The Fixer and co-creator of Love and Hip Hop Miami, specializing in unscripted television that amplifies Afro-Latinx or Latino.
That's a new phrase.
Voices and culture. So ladies, queens, I mean, I am so happy to see more females here on the panel representing.
Yes.
And your panel today that you spoke about was women and film, right? And the future of film. So if you both could give us a little bit of background of how, your career path and how you got started in the industry, because you both have different paths, right?
Yep.
Okay. She was looking right at me.
Yes.
Fine, whatever.
Yes.
Okay, so yes, again, I'm Lena Jenkins-Smith, and I am president of Goldstrand Media, as you said, and my background started, I've been in the industry, I would say probably 22 years now. I started with Cat Williams and starting off as personal assistant, and then became tour manager, executive producer. So I've had like a whirlwind of things, both on the music side and on the film and television side. And yeah, now I'm just, we're working independently and doing a lot of creative new projects and TV series and features. So I'm excited about the journey, where I've been and where it's taking me.
Yeah. Awesome. And didn't you just win an award? Let's talk about it for a minute.
Okay, well, I won the Phenomenal Woman of the Year award for the Orlando Urban Film Festival.
Yay!
Yes, and our project RAD, it's an 80s tribute musical film that also won for Best Music Video in the Orlando Film Festival. And we're screening in this film festival, so it's exciting. That's bringing a win home is always amazing.
Yes.
And the film has won 13 awards.
Oh, wow.
It's already won 13 awards and 4 honorable mentions.
Nice.
So yeah, I think we did
Congratulations.
No, you did a whole lot right.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
And Maricarmen Lopez, I'm in the unscripted space, started my career down here in Miami. Really in the music space, I was working as an intern and worked on my way all the way up to management at Slip and Slide Records, which is a iconic music label down here in Miami. And then eventually that took me on a path into television and film. And probably what's most notable on my resume has been being a part of the core team behind Love and Hip Hop. It started off as just, a small little show. And then eventually we, through a lot of hard work and tenacity and favor, I'll say a lot of favor, we, ended up expanding into 4 different cities. It's considered a legacy show in the reality space amongst all the other legacy shows that exist, which haven't been a lot, in just over the unscripted history. So I did that for maybe 10, 11 years of my life, and since then I've ventured off into other shows, other formats. Very grateful and to have been a part of growing the production space in Miami. In a very small way, and just happy to be here today. Supporting Marco and Blah, Florida Film House, 10 years of the Urban Film Festival, a production hub that really brings together the community of producers, actors, and everybody in between in Miami. And just, it's so amazing to see everything's been able to accomplish from just a small seed to now we are in a very nice venue in Miami. And just bringing out a lot of amazing people like Lena and other amazing individuals in the space. So
we talked a little bit about mentors and how important like mentors have played a role in your life. So, can you think of, or just give one like mentor, and what was maybe the most important thing that they taught you throughout, coming up in the industry?
Oh, for me, I would say like my mom is a really big mentor. Like she's one of my biggest cheerleaders, and I always say I'm like, you just are so excited about everything I do. It doesn't matter what it is, But I do think that just kind of, and she doesn't know a ton in the space that I'm in, but just in general and in life, I think she gives me like a lot of great advice, and she really tries to make sure that like I don't make the same mistakes she made, and just try to look at things objectively and give me good guidance. So I would say like kind of that's a mentor just in general in my life.
I mean, I feel like we all gonna say our mamas, right? Because it's like we all gonna say our moms, but my mom in the same space, really, she's somebody that decided to follow her dreams of being a singer at the age of 45. And now she's almost 80, and she has a band, and she still performs at the very least once a month. And she's somebody that really showed me that no matter your age, no matter your background, no matter anything, if you have something you want to follow, you don't let anything block that. A lot of people at 45 wouldn't have thought about singing and starting a career in the performing arts. She came from another country. Her English wasn't the best, wasn't the best if at all. And she just really stuck to building her own community of musicians, and decided to, start singing in little cabarets, and eventually got her own band. And, to this day, she still throws events once a month for her space, and her people. So she's somebody that is a life mentor and OG in every single way. Yep.
We were raised right.
Yeah, we were raised right, child. We were raised right. Yes.
I know, it's beautiful that you have families that are supportive of your art and expression, because not everybody maybe has that support.
I will say this: my mama ain't know what I was doing. If I'm being honest with you, we gonna be real, right?
Yeah, we're gonna be real.
My mama, because we
from my mother to my mama. That's how we're about to be serious. Hold on.
I think a lot of times, and we were raised with the best intentions, right? Your mama wants you to go to school. She wants you to get a degree. She wants you to get a good job so you can get a pension and retire and have a house. All the things that they probably didn't come up with. So my mom didn't really understand when I wanted to get into a space that don't pay.
Right.
You went to school, you got a degree in criminal justice, and you want to do what? Right. You want to intern at a label in this hip hop, because she's Latina.
Hip hop.
Right, so she's not over here like, en esta música, hip hop. She liked it, but she was like, what are you doing?
That's not a real job.
Right.
Not a real job.
I mean, it was the same way with you.
No, my mom literally was like, because I went to school and got 3 degrees, she's like, so you're not going to be a psychologist? Like,
you're not going to stay teaching?
Right. She really was, and she didn't understand it.
Right.
Like, this industry is so fickle, as she says.
Yeah.
She's like, but the paycheck and benefits and retirement. I was like, yeah, none of that.
Right,
Until you get to a space. Once she started seeing that I could really make a lot of money with it, then it was like, okay, I can see it now as a real job for you, but I wanted to make sure you're going to be good.
And I don't think it's lack of support. I think it's lack of knowledge, right? Our families came up in different times where, Black and brown people just had more limited opportunities, and so they had to kind of get in where they fit in. And not, although there's still a lot of disparities nowadays, still within our cultures and our communities and the business, it's still better than what it was before, right? So I don't think it came from a lack of support. I think it's from a lack of knowledge that, you can make money in this space and be creative. Again, my mom, she didn't see a future in art, when she's had a passion for singing since she was a kid and being on stage and performing, and it's because of lack of understanding and knowledge, and how she only saw a couple people come from her country that really made it. So I don't think it's lack of support. I think it's just like, and when she finally saw that first check, Well, that first check was
Then
no
she's
bad.
a believer.
I'm a leader. First check.
Okay.
But you probably the next few. And the next few opportunities, and she's okay. You do it. And she saw most importantly the credit on the screen.
That's a big
That means a big
thing. My
thing.
mom, when she sees my name on the screen, oh my God, it's like tears. The tears.
Yeah. So when she saw that and she sees the name, it's like okay,
You did. It was worthwhile.
it was worth it. So
Yes.
I just wanted to add that. You know,
Yes, she's
'cause
right. She's
yeah.
right.
Yes, no problem. No, I experienced the same thing. So, and I think it's also a generational thing.
Absolutely.
It was very, very different for
Yeah.
them. And I know my mom just wanted me to be like taken care of so she didn't have to worry about me.
Absolutely.
And then once she saw the money, she was like, oh, okay, Dana's gonna be all right.
Yeah.
Now I don't have to worry
Right.
about you while you
Right.
carry on.
She's like, you're not moving back in, are you?
Yeah,
No, okay, good.
right. Like, okay, you good. All right. You know what I'm saying? Tell me, what are some of the benefits of being a female in the industry?
Ooh, we just talked about this.
We did.
Yeah.
I would say I think women are so creative and they have an ingenuity that is just unmatched. And I feel like the way that we're able to troubleshoot and outsource and use our resources and camaraderie and just partnership in general, I think that helps us grow and it helps us really make successful productions. And just being a woman, like it's fun, it's great. I get to dress up and be cute, but I also get to work as hard as I can possibly work to make my dreams come to fruition. Because at the end of the day, like these are our dreams and our creative experiences that we want to put out, and we have a way of organizing things that just make it happen, and we get the job done no matter what.
Yeah. I don't know. For me, I feel like we're always going to be in a space of having something to prove.
Oh yeah.
And when you have something you need to prove, you're going to fight harder than anybody. You're going to go past the bare minimum to really excel. And although sure it sucks, sure we should be given those opportunities, we should be given the pay, we should be given those things equally as our male peers. It's just not. It's the reality. And then furthermore, we're minority women, and so we always are going to be in a space of proving, and I think that's our power in a lot of ways. It pushes us to really conquer, conquer and be that girl, that woman, whatever set you walk into. So I feel like, I try not to look at that as like I can complain all day or I can just like figure it out and come out on top,
Yeah. No, I see that. So, Lena, tell us a little bit about Goldstrand Media.
Oh, okay. I always like to say we're a one-stop shop. We are a full-service media and production agency. We have like different components for actors. So we have our actors database. We have acting classes. We have mentorship. We do a lot in just like the grooming of an actor, because to us that is the part of the film you just can't do without. So you need to make sure that while you're, crewing up and getting things together, that your actors are right and that they feel very well taken care of. So we do a lot of that. We do workshops where they'll come in and we have guests that'll come and speak to them. We feed them, we embrace them, and we teach them. And that's a big deal for us. We also we have our crew of over, I think it's like, we're up to like 45 now on our crew, our active crew. We do media as well, so we film anything from commercials, television series, features, podcasts. One of our podcasts is winning an awards for Preach the Word Network. So yeah, we're doing, we have that ceremony in September. And we just have a lot of different components within we do production base camps. So we use our studio and rent it out to other productions that want to come and have a place to hold their productions and have base camp. We have a huge glam squad. I brag on that because everybody on our glam squad is so good. And it's like they've all done, worked with all these celebrities and everything. So we do that as well. But I say Goldstrand is definitely the hub. And we're becoming, it's weird because my partner and I have both been in the business over 20 years, but people are just not like recognizing us.
Yeah.
And they're treating us like new kids on the block. And I'm like, we're the old kids. We started the block.
Yeah.
Wow.
But you know, hey, I mean, it is what it is. Better late than never. So they're catching up now.
So, but how do you decide what projects to work with, or do you just produce them? Are they all your projects?
Oh no, we have our own projects, but we have to feel it. If it doesn't, like, you know, we have morals and standards. So it's like if it doesn't resonate with that, it's just something that's like we can't be a part of. We've all done some of those projects back in the day that's like, I don't even put my name on this. But now it's like, now that we're in the forefront and we have so much visibility, we have to really be cautious on what we're helping put out into our community. I think that's a big deal. So I do a lot of stuff in the youth space. We do things that are community-based. We have faith-based projects. So we can't just put anything out there. And if it doesn't speak to us or resonate with us, we will gladly refer them somewhere else. But we do our own projects, which we have several. And then we partner with a lot of people. So we only really take on their projects if we EP them and kind of facilitate them from start to finish. And that way we're able to add some of our creativity to it as well.
So you mentioned about faith. So how does faith play a role in your career and the project?
Oh my God, without him, it will not be. It will not be, it's not possible, and for me, we talk about she's teaching me in the matter of one day to start speaking from the words of in honesty and in full transparency. I learned that from her.
Oh, wow.
On her thing.
Thank
So
you.
I'm going to start using that and pretend like I made it up. But in full transparency, spirituality in general and certain parts of religion I struggled with as a kid growing up because I had an influx of it. So my family came from several different backgrounds and different, the way they worshiped was different. So I struggled with an identity for myself. And now it's like I'm very clear on, what my mission is, what my path is, and the part that God takes place in that. And it's like, I can't deny it. And every time I do it, just slaps me back in the face. It's like, I'm trying to go over here.
I was trying to tell you,
So faith is very, very in the forefront of my operation.
So, Mari, how does, we were talking about faith, right?
Yeah.
How does faith play a role in
I think if you don't have faith, you can't make it in this business. Like this business is so, sometimes you just gotta, it's all you have is faith, So many times in my life and my career choice where it was either walking out on faith, whether it was a new project, moving into a new city, putting up my own money to do something, and all you had was faith and the hope that it was going to work out, and if it, God forbid, didn't, you pivoted, and I think pivoting is like my mantra, because you have a plan with how shit's going to work out and you can either stay stuck in that moment or you can pivot. Sometimes the pivot's taking me time and sometimes pivot is quicker for me. So I think faith is all you have, and whatever that faith may be, we can talk about spirituality and the different realms and how people believe, right? But I think the most important part of believing is, God has a way of putting people around you and putting circumstances, you ask for strength, you don't get strength, you're going to be put in positions to make you stronger. And I think you have to keep in mind that mentality as you're walking by faith and not by sight, And I think the most important thing at the end of it is that God looks at how we're walking each other home, how we service each other, how we take care of each other, no matter the pool that you are in, whether it's corporate, whether it's film, whether it's education, it's how, when we connect, no matter the hues of our skin, no matter the faith that we go by, it's really, okay, you guys are, all these differences are happening, but how are you guys connecting to walk each other home? You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, she just said a word.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm
I'm like,
getting chills.
Yeah.
now I'm like
Yes.
thinking, I'm like, that's so beautiful.
That is
I've
beautiful.
never
Yeah.
heard it
Yeah.
said that way,
Me
walking
either.
each other home. But like,
Yeah.
I'm stealing that money.
Yeah,
We're
it is.
stealing a lot of stuff.
It
from
is.
her. Oh, we did
I
say
know,
we were
I
going to
heard
steal from each
dropping
other. So we
It's
have
not,
stolen
it's,
somebody's money.
it's not stealing. It's honoring the
Sharing.
moment we
We're gonna,
meet. Yeah, that's
we're
all.
gonna share
love
your
it.
Yeah.
legacy of that message.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. It's so it's funny because I was talking with MJ and Lady Des. We were talking about how art and film is a ministry.
Yeah.
You know,
it
and
is.
it's like it's just like this is what our ministry looks like.
Yeah.
You know,
It does.
because I'm a firm believer that art heals.
Amen.
You know,
Absolutely.
and when people are able to express themselves freely and give them the gift to express, it just it changes the person and it changes the world. It changes everybody who sees
Yeah.
it. You know?
Absolutely.
And I just want to add to that too. I feel like entertainment, a lot of people look at it like, there's all these different realms of entertainment, but I think a lot of times people don't want to be fed clinical, right? They want to be, it's like a pill in the ice cream, So it's like, okay, we want to teach you about, whatever whatever that thing it is that you want to teach, whatever that lesson it is that you want to. And sometimes people just don't want to be fed that, right? How many of us, we went to school, we didn't want to hear what the teacher taught us,
No.
right?
Yeah.
We was hard-headed in our ways and stuff, but when the teacher did something fun and like showed us a movie or took us to a place to show us something, we thought that was more fun, but we were learning in the process. So I think the intersection of like teaching somebody but doing it in a fun way is part of what we need to be doing too eventually in our realm. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So you had mentioned about faith and pivoting.
Yeah.
So how do you see the industry, changing, and how are you pivoting to position yourself for the future?
I mean, I know Lena and I, when the three of us, and shout out to Nika, when we were on a call before the panel, we talked about, we didn't want to talk about all the challenges and all the nastiness happening in our business, but the reality is it's a dark business. I'm not going to sit here and act like it's bells and whistles and glitter and gold all the time. It's a very dark business, and I think right now it's scary. There is a bunch of non-creatives that are taking the executive seats in those companies that eventually create the projects that we're going to work on or that we're trying to pitch to sell. It was already hard enough, and now it's like, okay, but the reality is that content is king, or queen, depending on, how you see it, but content will always live, and it's a matter of how you do it, when you do it, and what format, and figuring out the tides, whether it's, budgeting, whether it's who you're doing it, with, and how you're doing it, and who you're employing. But I think it is a really great time for like independent people that are super creative, people that, are hustling. I came up in the business when it was still traditional media. It was still $1 million budgets an episode. It was still, but the music business went through this, music business at one point, music videos, and there was $1 million budgets that people were spending, and then they eventually got hip to streaming, got hip to the digital space, and budgets got cut. Music industry ain't going nowhere. Music ain't going nowhere. And a lot of artists are suffering, but then a lot of artists figured out how to pivot, do things independently, build their tribes independently, and are thriving to this day. So I think you have to understand how to, it's the times that we're in, and you're gonna fold or you're gonna thrive,
Yeah. And I would say the same thing too. Like I think noticing the pivots, like when we had these, even in the form of content, like short form content right now is killing the game. And it's like, I just remember planning things for these long, features and series. And it's like, wait, who just shot what in 15 minutes with an iPhone? Like the minute you can give a person an iPhone and they are now a filmmaker, I think that's a huge pivot. And so, we just have to stay on top of what's trending and on top of what feeds, what feeds our audience. And that's where we look at. We just look and see like, well, what is the latest, newest thing, and how can we adapt and pivot? And we've been very blessed to be able to kind of stay on top of some of those trends. Now, some of the trends we were way too ahead of our time, like Quibi. for example.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
So I was on that Quibi wave, and we were signing the deal, and then they watch all the episodes in one day. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So it's just sometimes you can really be too ahead of your time, but you have to know how to take that same, because they're taking the same format from Quibi with real shorts, and now just kind of revamping the idea. So you have to, when you invent something like that and something that is so genius, be prepared for the pivot in case you either get there too fast or you're not fast enough.
So how are you preparing for the pivot as a company?
As a company, we are employing a ton of youth and content, because they're the ones with their ear to the streets. They're the ones that can take this content and become the influencers are right now, like they're just running the game. So it's like you take them and then you start to incorporate them even in your long form content, and that way you kind of win on both sides. We're never going to give up the long form content, but we do see the benefit and the advantage of the short form. So I think kind of integrating those two and being able to tap into those markets, that's how you stay on top with the company. And then not only by doing that, you're cutting your costs down, you know, and still kind of reaching both ends of the spectrum.
Great. So what are some upcoming projects that you are both working on right now?
Ooh,
that
you
you can
No, you first. Wait, no, you go. You, Lena.
We have a project we just decided we're about to do. We're not going to talk about it because we have not signed an NDA.
Okay,
But-
I'm happy to.
We're about to do something together, but
Okay.
yeah, we have Cat Williams' visual album coming up, As Above, So Below. We have been very, very honored to be, you know, to collaborate with him and create this amazing masterpiece that I can't wait to finish so we can get it out there. We have that. I'm working on a series called Lux, which it has a ton of amazing, amazing talent in it. So we're working on that. I still have my kids thing. I've created what's kind of like the new Sesame Street. So I can't wait to get that going, the Learning Lighthouse. That's going to be something that's, you know, phenomenal. And we have tons of other projects that we're working on, the 12 and some other stuff that are just, you know, that we're going to bring to the table, just hit them hard. Different genres too, which is sometimes unheard of for independents, because they usually like to stick to a genre, but we're multi-genre, so
That's right.
we're gonna give something for everybody.
That's right. That's right. Well, I just wrapped a little while ago the show that you mentioned, The Fixer, which is airing on Fox and Hulu and Fox Business now. And I thought that project was one of my first projects that I worked with a gentleman named Marcus Lemonis. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him. He did The Prophet on CNBC. And the interesting thing is that was talent funded. You know, Marcus is the CEO of Bed Bath & Beyond, and Camping World, and a bunch of other, like, he's, you know, very successful. And he really took a chance on himself and wanting to own his content, and really did it in a way where, like, he employed a production company, IPC, that's under the Sony brand, and then they brought in, you know, production folks and producers to really move that project, but it was funded by him. That being said, you know, it really taught me a side of the business, you know, when it comes to, you know, negotiating with the networks and licensing your shows and taking it to different platforms. And so I'm really taking that sort of knowledge that I learned from that show and applying it to other realms. You know, the traditional pitching space is not always great. You're waiting on a network to greenlight you, to use their money to do something, and they decide if they're going to, you know, cut you or not ultimately. And I've been through that traditional pitching realm. You know, I've had 3 projects that were co-pros with other major production companies, and we got to the pilot stage, or we got to a presentation stage, or we got to a casting stage, and then something happens and the project no longer moves forward. So I'm now in a space of, you know, really opening up my lens to brand activated projects, you know, the digital space and YouTube and, you know, other realms where content is still very important to supply, and not necessarily in just a traditional media space where I come from. You know, aggregator deals when it comes to your independent filming. You know, one thing that, you know, even coming to Urban Film Festival, even if I was either a panelist or a speaker, you know, learning from Marco and Blah, which were they're 2 brothers of mine, they've always stuck to indie, and they've made it successful for their world, and I've learned a lot from them in that space, you know. So I hope to get into more independent projects, and hope to, you know, work with more of the production hub in Miami and connect people like Lena and others, because even if I've show ran, you know, it's always being in the space of learning and connecting, and I always hope to stay in that space, because that's how you're able to stay alive in our very scary business, you know.
Flexibility.
So, yep, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's with some of the other panelists we were talking about. Yeah, just be flexible, and I always say be like water. You know, kind of wherever it's going. If it's unscripted, and then if it pivots to scripted, if it pivots to commercial, if it pivots to whatever, like, you know, just be a yes and figure it out.
Yep, absolutely.
No, that's true. That's true. That's how you stay working.
Amen. That's it's staying getting a check.
And relevant.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So how can how can filmmakers connect with you if they're interested in learning more about you?
They can follow me as She's the Producer. Also, our company IG is Goldstrand Media. Our website is goldstrandmedia.com. Everything that's anything that relates to us is there.
I am C. Lopez and all socials. My little company is
it's not little. Here, excuse me, Daddy. No, we're gonna rewind right quick. Let's hear it again.
Thank you. No, my MCL Media is my network child.
That is a network.
My company.
Oh, we just spoke that into existence. Mighty MLC
You know what it is?
Media.
It's always, I don't know if you get this, Lena. I'm not used to being this.
I don't know why you're so good at it.
Thank you. No, but I'm a behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? I like that. I like
Dana
Dana's.
brought us here. We're trying to be behind the scenes. She wanted us.
Yeah.
No, you need to be up in
I
front.
be blurring the words
Period.
together. No, I am MC Lopez on socials. My company's name is MCL Media. No unsolicited pitches, so we gotta figure out a way. You know, if you want to pitch something over to myself or to even Lena, I don't want to speak for her.
No, that's right. No,
but you know, there is legalities to submitting things to make sure that you're protected as much as us. So please, but MCL
we just
Media.
need to create a database for that, and then let them, because that's what they do with the network.
Absolutely.
And since now you're a network, I'm just.
Period.
Okay.
Come on,
we seeing stuff right here. Right here. It's happening.
That's how you submit.
Yeah, but it is important though to protect yourself. You know, and the people that we were talking about that in our women's in film panel, which I hope you guys look at online, is really protecting yourself and your work, especially in the unscripted space, because you can't trademark an unscripted idea.
That's right.
You protect your idea by the talent that you attach, whereas unscripted, you can trademark, you can copyright, you can do all the things. So I say that to say, you know, protect yourself when you submit to either one of us or anybody. But yes, MCL Media. I am MC Lopez. Thank you for having us.
Oh, wait, I'm not letting you off the hook yet.
Oh, okay.
So, can you talk about your first production through MCL Media?
Oh, child. Let me.
How far back does that go?
No, like I started. I will say this. I don't know if this is everybody's story, but for me, you have to, as you're building your own, you still got to work for people, because the only way to fund your own stuff is to still make a check.
Right.
So MCL Media, before even getting into production, I was in the music space. So I used to do. And the company was used as that, but then in 2015. When I got hit to loan outs and being paid through your company on a production, is when I transitioned over to the production side of things. So I've had 4 co-pros with majors, and we've gotten a project to a certain space, but whether it was COVID or a scandal, the project hasn't seen the full light, but listen, I will say this, 100 times you may try and it'd be the 101 that it goes, and I will say a project that I, developed in 2019, and getting the right attachments and filming and doing all that stuff now is in a space of now we're getting ready to prepare to go out and pitch. And so, but that was 2019, it's 2025 now. So I say that to say sometimes it's the right timing, the right partnerships, and the right space to do things, just because you see something that you did 5-6 years ago, it ain't work. It may not have been the time for the project. A very small gem I'll throw on Love and Hip Hop is that before it came to Miami, you know, we started Love and Hip Hop New York. The franchise was preparing to become a franchise and going to other cities. We went to Atlanta and Miami. This was back in 2010, 2011. Miami didn't go at that time. It went to Atlanta, you know, and then when the network wanted to add another city, we went to 3 other cities, and then it went to LA or Hollywood. You know, they called it Hollywood because it sounded better. And then it was the 4th time around when they decided to, okay, let's give Miami another shot. It was between Miami and Houston. And it was, you know, pilots and things that were shot for both cities. And then Miami got the chance finally to be greenlit in 2017 for its first season. So I say that to say that, you know, and you would think a franchise as successful as Love and Hip Hop, you know, at that point, Obama mentioned us in his speech when he was a president. You know, he was saying, I don't know about that Love and Hip Hop, but the point was it was permeated pop culture.
He even knew, yeah.
Right.
He even knew to make a comment.
We still had to pitch it. Yeah. You know, you would think.
Yeah.
But think about it, Dave Chappelle was pilot boy. 23 pilots before
it became what it became. So if you can receive anything from that, is even if you had the idea 2, 3, 5, 10, 20 years ago, well, the Squid Games is the pinnacle of that story, because how many years later did they decide to finally take a chance on that and look at the insaneness it's become now? So stick through it. Stick through it. Pivot it, even if it's finding the right partners, a different production company, altering the storyline, getting new actors. You know, if you believe enough in the project, stick through it. You know.
And speaking of spiritual, sometimes God will make you wait so that you go in the right door with the right people. Mm-hmm. I've had that happen to me several times where I'm like, this is amazing, everything worked, this is perfection.
Why did it not happen?
Wasn't the right people.
Yeah.
And then those people, you shake the tree, you know, and the leaves fall off, and then the door opens. And so sometimes it's even that, just being patient enough to know what you have is good, but you gotta be surrounded with the right people.
And to add to what Lena was saying, you know, and sometimes you may want a blessing so bad, but you're not prepared for it when you get it.
Ooh, say that.
You know, like sometimes, you know, you want that check, but God knows you're gonna spend it in a way that's gonna be very unbeneficial to you. So sometimes God is holding you up so you can learn more, go through more shit. Go through more things.
It's okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's true.
Responsibility.
Yeah, it's being responsible, because sometimes you may not be equipped to receive the blessing God has for you. So you need to go through more stuff, go through more challenges, more obstacles, more downfalls.
Be stronger.
You know, so you can know, okay, when I'm getting that, I'm gonna be more grateful and I'm gonna be more prepared to maneuver it. So you gotta look inside too, if you were really ready for that moment. Who knows in 2019 when I started developing, if I was ready, I may have needed to be stronger in my own business acumen. I needed to probably know more what it is to get effed over.
Yep.
So now I know when it comes, I know what to look for. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah. Living and learning.
yes, amen. Absolutely.
That's the only way you learn is on the
That's
court, right?
Yep.
So you got to be on the court.
That's right.
So I know you talked about what is the inappropriate way, like no unsolicited. So how can people reach you if they wanted to in that regard to pitch?
Like I said, our website, our email's on a website on Goldstrand Media, admin@Goldstrand Media. If you can start to reach out through there, and then our assistant will filter through what is, you know, what needs to come to us, and you know, but that is a good way to be able to connect with us. Sometimes DM, sometimes I don't see them, or if you do DM me, I'll just tell you to email that anyway, so you might as well just email.
Okay, great. I just want to be responsible with what I'm doing. Because when this comes out, I don't like, want your like stuff to be blowing up.
We don't
make
mind.
sure,
We don't mind.
you know what I'm saying? So what final thoughts would you like to share that you think would be valuable with, you know, emerging filmmakers getting into the business today?
I would just say do what you love, create what you love, but be socially responsible for the things that you create. Don't just put any and everything out there. Just because you can do something doesn't necessarily mean you should do it. So be responsible. Know that the content that you're putting out there, it is going to reach people and it is going to touch people and move them. So if you have the ability to throw a little touch in there of some mental health and wellness, do that. Of some spirituality, do that. you know, or just being overall good people and some good wholesome morals. I always say incorporate that in your content if you can.
Amen. I would say just really like your business acumen. You know, at the end of the day, all of us are creatives. We all produce. We all deal with talent. We all know how to create beautiful things. But there's no television, there's no film without the business. So I would say educate yourself on the business in every which way possible. If you don't have the means to have lawyers or agents or, you know, afford people, you know, go to these sort of hubs, you know, your film festivals in your local communities. You know, YouTube University is really a great outlet, you know. Research, because sometimes you're not going to be, you know, we talked about it in our panel, like there was a woman that asked about mentorship and about, okay, when do you know when to find a mentor? And sometimes, unfortunately, production, as much as innovative and forward thinking and open that we can be, there's a lot of people in a certain level that aren't that. It's a very crabs in a barrel mentality. So when you don't have the means to talk to somebody, you know, research and teach yourself, put that effort in yourself, school yourself to really understand what that looks like. You know, ChatGPT and all of these programs, you know, are there. They weren't there when I was coming up in the game, and she's been in it longer than me, and it's not there when it was, and we had to go through a lot of pitfalls, and probably still gonna go through quite a few in this new pivot in our career. So I'll say you guys have the opportunity to really look and research and learn. The internet can be a great resource, and really understand the business behind production, behind television and filmmaking. So, you know, not just, and don't be afraid of the risk. You know, everything is a risk. And without risk, there is no reward. It may get messed up the first few times, but consistency is key. And you may be told no 1,000 times, but there'll be that 1,001 that you get the yes that changes your life. So consistency is what matters, and all of your mentors and other people that you aspire, you know, Shonda Rhimes to me is like the epitome, and she's gone through so many hurdles in her life as a Black showrunner, the most successful showrunner though in the space. So please research. Yes. Teach yourself. So
yes,
I love it.
So, and it's funny because I was having a conversation with Alexis Garcia, and it's like kind of coming exactly full circle. You cannot have a meeting with a professional in this industry and not know about the industry, and not know about the business and the audience and the marketing and what types of films people are making, right?
Because it's not personal.
It's
not personal. When it comes to these agents and these lawyers and these people that are moving the needle, these buyers, it's not personal to them. What they care about is numbers and ratings and advertisers and who's going to buy into the show that you're producing or the film that you're developing. That's what matters to them. So if they say no, it has probably nothing to do with who you are as a person, but can they profit off your product? So you have to understand that. You have to.
Right. But you can't walk into a meeting thinking that they're gonna understand it and you don't. That's what I'm saying. You know, like you gotta do your research so that you're kind of like doing everything you can to be shoulder to shoulder with that conversation. Like you've turned over every rich rock you can to make sure that you come to the table prepared when you do have
Absolutely.
it. Right? So spend the time preparing so you can speak your numbers or speak your, you know, like comparable, you know, shows and these things, you know, because you don't want to waste people's time because you might only have that one shot to get in front of that person. And you know what? They're gonna remember you. So if you don't come correct, they're gonna be like, "Oh, that was the one."
and I don't know the limit. I'm a Gemini, so Mercury rules my sign. I talk way too much sometimes. But one thing, as you were talking about, there was a woman that came up to me after the panel, and she was talking about you know, there's a film that, you know, I want to take out a loan to, you know, put money behind, and the person that I'm partnered with has done this before, and it's like, okay, well, do you have the script done? No, or it's not done yet. Okay, well, to me, like, you need to have a guide of how much something is going to probably cost you before you go out and get the money for it. You know, I've had, you know, when I first started doing my own thing, I don't know how many times my credit cards went in the red because I just believed in it. You know,
Yeah.
I believe in the
Yeah.
talent.
You're so
I believe in the
excited.
stories.
Yeah.
I believe in it so much. I'm gonna just go broke. You know, and it's like no. As I kept having to get myself out of the red with the credit cards, you know, it's understanding. Okay, I need a guide. I need to sit there. And I came from at that point. I had enough experience, but again, it's the business and understanding. Okay, like the impulse of going out and getting a loan and going broke. Like, sure, we all need to take risks, but also like educate yourself and like creating a line item, understanding what this may cost. You know, educating yourself and knowing things like that. So if you take the risk, at least you kind of know, okay, what could be the pro and the con, you know? So
Absolutely.
Well, that's, I know I've like kept you ladies for like,
No, this is awesome.
because we're just like
Yeah, we can keep-
reviving,
yes.
reviving. But thank you so much for being
Yes,
here
Thank
with
you
us.
for having
okay?
us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, and thank you for Marco and Blah and everybody at
Thank
the
you.
Urban
10
Film
years.
Festival. We love you.
yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, this is right.
Awesome.